Before certain historical events of 1917, classical choreographic art had almost no place in the culture of Azerbaijan. Rare performances of small troupes touring in Baku or individual soloists from Russia were available to a narrow circle of the aristocracy. The broad masses of people did not have the opportunity to familiarize themselves with musical theater, and especially with the art of classical ballet. Under the lawless conditions of the Tsarist regime and the religious oppression of the masses, it turned out to be impossible to create a national ballet theater that would require special training for artists. Yet despite numerous prohibitions in Baku, private studios emerged, opened by enthusiasts, whose students were occasionally involved in performances in operas or divertisements as background for the capital's guest performers. And only with the establishment of a new government was there a real opportunity to open a ballet studio. Her life was shaped in a happy time, when the women of Azerbaijan no longer knew shameful harems, when the black shroud of the veil did not conceal smiling faces. Gamar Almaszadeh knew about their terrible dark past only by hearsay. However, even in those years when a girl aspired to become a professional dancer, prejudices stood in her way. However, determination and firmness won out, and she was admitted to the ballet studio. The first appearance of the future ballerina on the stage in Delibes' ballet Coppelia dates back to the mid-1920s. Even then, Gamar attracted attention with the fragility of her appearance, expressiveness, and charm. After graduating from the studio, the young dancer performed in fragments from classical ballets and dances from national operas for 3 years. But in 1932, the need to improve her dance technique led the young artist to the school of the Bolshoi Theater of the USSR, where she was sent by the Komsomol of the Republic. Gamar's classes were successful, but with the production of the opera Shakhsanam by Gillier on the stage of the Azerbaijani Opera and Ballet Theater, she was recalled to Baku to participate in the premiere. She danced the Persian dance and Bacchanal to great success. Unique footage from 1934 with the participation of Gamar Almaszadeh in the opera Shakhsanam has survived to this day. The desire to complete her choreographic education did not leave Gamar, and here she is in 1933, a student of the famous Leningrad Choreographic School. Almaszadeh continues to persistently uncover the secrets of the ballet art in the class of Maria Fyodorovna Romanova-Ulanova. After completing her internship in 1936, she returned to Baku. There began a difficult but inspired path in the art of Gamar Almaszadeh, the first Azerbaijani ballerina and choreographer, People's Artist of the USSR, laureate of the USSR State Prize, and member of the Supreme Soviet of the Azerbaijan Republic. In 1938, Azerbaijan was enthusiastically preparing for an upcoming day of national culture as part of the Decade of Art in Moscow, and Gamar Almaszadeh, reflecting on the ways of developing professional choreographic art in the Republic and on the possibilities of demonstrating it to the fullest extent in the capital, turns to the treasury of traditional art, namely folk dances. The technique of classical dance acquired in the best schools of the country has become an integral feature of the ballerina's art. However, how many interesting movements and how much original plasticity was hidden in each of the folk dances which the future choreographer carefully studied. Organically fused in the work of the artist, these two cultures gave her dance an inimitable and original beauty of movements, distinguished by oriental softness, intricate patterning, and at the same time, classical completeness, precision, and expressiveness. In order for the bright, original choreographic art of the Republic to sparkle with new facets, On the eve of the Decade of Art in Moscow, it became necessary to create a folk dance ensemble headed by Gamar Almaszadeh. The success of the diverse program of the dance group of the Azerbaijani Philharmonic during the review in the capital confirmed the rightful search of the young leader. All the most important newspapers wrote about the performing art of the ballerina. The National Ballet was represented by dances in the operas Kuroglu by Uzeyir Gajibekov and Nargiz by Muslim Magamayev. In the face of Gamar Almaszadeh, the Azerbaijan Opera and Ballet Theatre has a wonderful artist. She has great charm, her movements are smooth and harmonious. With her whole appearance, she resembles a wonderful fairy tale from 1001 Nights, the great Russian ballerina Olga Lipashinskaya noted in the Pravda newspaper. In 1940, the first large-scale national ballet, The Maiden's Tower, by Afrasiab Badalbeli, opened a new page in the history of the development of the choreographic art of the Republic. The authors of the ballet, choreographer Vronsky, director Idayadzadeh, composed the text of the part of the main character in close collaboration with Gamar Almaszadeh, who worked on the part with special trepidation, taking into account all the responsibility of the task before her. Gulnara has become one of the most beloved and striking creations of the ballerina. It was a lively, exciting image of an Azerbaijani girl, selfless, devoted, resolute. In her love for Palad, the entire passionate nature of Gulnara, the expressed protest against the despotism of Jahangir Khan, and her moral superiority were clearly revealed. We're seeing footage from 1954 of the Adagio fragment performed by Gamar Almaszadeh and Konstantin Batashev. When at the end of the performance a ray of light grabbed onto the lonely figure of Gulnara appearing on the tower, the actress wanted to show that the decision to throw herself off the tower was dictated not by despair, but by the desire to remain faithful to her noble feelings. The theme of fidelity later became dominant in Almaszadeh's work. The image of Gulnara occupied a fundamentally important place in the ballerina's scenography. It seemed to highlight the facets of her talent, her creative sympathies, and the very nature of her artistic possibilities. An extensive performing range, careful attitude to the strict canons of classical dance have become characteristic features of Almaszadeh's skill. Subtly feeling the music, she organically conveyed the national identity of the works of Soviet composers. The desire to penetrate into the core of the image, to endow it with features of authenticity, to reveal the ideas laid down by the authors in this or that performance, characterizes the ballerina's dance. Almaszadeh's repertoire included leading roles in the ballets Swan Lake, The Nutcracker, Raimonda, Don Quixote, Esmeralda, The Red Poppy, and The Fountain of Bakhchisarai. An outstanding artist on whom the entire ballet repertoire of the Azerbaijani theatre rested, she constantly expanded the circle of her artistic and pedagogical interests. Working as a teacher in the senior classes of the Baku Choreographic School, Almaszadeh begins to stage concert pieces and even entire ballets. In 1939, for the first graduation concert of the school, Gamar Hanum staged the first national children's ballet, the fairy tale Tarlan, to the music of Afrasiab Badelbeli. It was this ballet that became the starting point for the birth of a large classical national ballet in Azerbaijan, the Maiden's Tower. In 1950, Almaszadeh staged a third ballet, Gulshan, to the music of Sultan Gajibekov, which tells about the life of collective farmers, cotton growers. In the new version of 1952, People's Artist of the USSR, Leyla Vekilova, and People's Artist of the Republic, the first national classical dancer, Maksud Mammadov, shone. The performance was highly appreciated by the audience and the press. The composer, choreographer, and performers of the main roles were awarded the State Prize of the USSR. Thus, the first Azerbaijani ballerina became the first national choreographer. Updated versions of The Sleeping Beauty and The Nutcracker, Laurencia, Chopiniana, and Harlequinade appear in the theater, which testifies to Almaszadeh's desire to educate the troupe on the best examples of ballet heritage on the significant canvases of world choreography. At the same time, the choreographer strives to create original repertoire. She prepares a children's comic ballet, The Golden Key, to the music of Boris Zeidman. The work demonstrates a subtle sense of humor and understanding of the peculiarities of the performance for children, shows a rich imagination and artistic ingenuity. This performance was created for little Chimnaz Babayeva. When the artist grew up, Almaszadeh, by right of authorship, considering her an irreplaceable Pinocchio, removed the ballet from the repertoire. In 1965, Gamar Almaszadeh directed a performance based on the work of the same name by Süleyman Sani Ahundov, The Gypsy Girl, to the music of Ashraf Abbasov. The story about an orphan girl in the interpretation of its first performer, Leyla Vekilova, touched the heart of the viewer and was a great success. Almaszadeh revives the pearl of Russian classics, Swan Lake, and the festive Don Quixote on the Baku stage. She also staged the masterly dance scenes in the national operas Leyli and Majnun, Köroğlu by Uzeyir Gajibekov, Shah Ismail by Muslim Magamayev, and many, many others. During her 45-year teaching career, Gamar Almaszadeh has brought up a galaxy of brilliant prima ballerinas. The palette of her activities would be incomplete without a story about the achievements of the students of the dance school of the ballerina Almaszadeh. Coming from one of the most eminent Azerbaijani families, one of her first graduates in 1943 was the inimitable Leyla Vekilova, who later surpassed her great teacher. It was Vekilova who brought unheard-of success to the National Ballet during the decade of Azerbaijani art in Moscow in 1959. With her impeccable performance of the main roles in the ballets The Maiden's Tower, Gulshan, and Seven Beauties, the dancer left the undeniable stamp of the master. Since 1953, Leyla Hanum has been conducting pedagogical work at the ballet school in parallel with her stage activities. The best ballet dancers were formed in her professional forge. One such example, the majestic ballerina Raisa Ismailova, came out of her first graduating class in 1958. In the ballet The Legend of Love by Arif Melikov, directed by Yuri Grigorovich, she remained the best Mehmede Banu in the history of Azerbaijani ballet. Raisa Ismailova was called a luxurious prima given her natural makeup similar to the features of Italian ballerinas. In her dancing, which was somewhat demonic, assertive, there were notes of a technique of a European performance. On the screen, miraculously preserved footage from the ballet The Legend of Love with the participation of Raisa Ismailova and Donmaz Gadjiev. Leyla Vekilova's contribution turned out to be invaluable not only in the art of national ballet, but also in the growth of the professional level of the State Folk Dance Ensemble, of which she was the artistic director from 1976 to 1982. It was she who introduced the exercise of classical dance into the mandatory program for improving the ensemble's performing skills, which to this day is an integral part of the workflow of the ensemble's artists. Thanks to the knowledge and skills of Vekilova, the state ensemble of the country has now a polished academic aplomb. From 1993 to 1999, Leyla Hanoum was also the artistic director of BCS. High professionalism, competence, undeniable authority, and extensive knowledge of the entire ballet heritage supported the classical dance school at a high level. Those were the best years of the then secondary school. People's Artist of Georgia, the amazing prima ballerina Vera Tsignadze was born in 1924 in Baku. In 1943, she graduated from the Baku Choreographic School and was accepted into the troupe of the Opera and Ballet Theater named after Ahundov. Unfortunately, for unknown reasons, none of the official sources of the ballerina's biographers contain the information that Tsignadze was a student of the Azerbaijani prima ballerina Gamar Almaszadeh. But this is an indisputable, documented fact. Only in 1946 did Vera Varlamovna, a graduate of her class, at the invitation of the brilliant dancer Vakhtang Chabukiani, move to her ethnic homeland of Georgia. For many years, she delighted the Georgian audiences with the skills of classical dance laid down by Gamar Almaszadeh. In 1945, the daughter of a famous film actor, people's artist Rza Afganli, and opera singer Sona Iskandarova graduated from Gamar Hanoum's class. This is Humar Zulfugarova, a bright, emotional, extremely musical dancer who has become the belle of character in national Azerbaijani dance. On the stage of the Opera and Ballet Theater named after Ahundov, she created inimitable images of the Maghreb beauty in the first production of the ballet Seven Beauties, the matchmaker in the ballet The Maiden's Tower, the stepmother in the ballet The Gypsy Girl, and others. In 1958, the Georgian film studio was making the film Mamluk. Director David Rondelli, who then traveled all over the Soviet Union in search of the performer for the role of an Arab dancer, chose the young Humar. A volcano of passions raged in her large, expressive eyes. With just one look, she struck the audience on the spot. It was Zulfugarova who became the exotic adornment of this film. In 1950, Humar Zulfugarova began working as a choreographer, director, and teacher of character dances at the school. People's artists Chimnaz Babayeva, Vladimir Pletnev, Tamila Shiralieva studied and graduated in her class, as well as the prima of the state dance ensemble Zita Babazadeh, Tamila Hudayarova, and others. Humar Hanoum was quite a strict and demanding teacher, sometimes even tough and relentless. But in the art of dance, there is no other way to get true results. She usually built her lessons at the peak of emotions and feelings. Her soul lived in unison with the music so much that during the lesson she could be very moved if it was a lyrical theme, and conversely, to rage to the fullest at the demand of the nature of the dance. The teacher tried to instill in the students the same spiritual awe and expressiveness in the dance, but it was almost impossible to outdance her. Undoubtedly, the People's Artist of Azerbaijan, the title holder of the Order of Glory, Humar Zulfugarova is the embodiment of professionalism in the art of folk dance. The young talented ballerina Rosa Taghiyeva graduated from the class of Gamar Almaszadeh in 1950. She was implicitly enrolled in the ballet troupe of the theater, but in the fate of her career, her personal life took precedence and she settled down. She married a wonderful man and instrumentalist of the theater orchestra, Shamil Gadjiev. Devoting herself to family life, Rosa Hanum realized herself to a greater extent as a capable and rare teacher at the Baku Choreographic School. Her daughter Camilla, who inherited abilities from her parents, grew up to be a highly qualified ballet accompanist. Gamar Hanum, seeing the pedagogical inclinations of her student, contributed to the fact that since 1953, Rosa Aliyevna was a teacher of the junior classes of the school and served for the benefit of the Azerbaijani Ballet School for exactly 50 years. In the art of ballet, as in many other professions, a competently and correctly laid foundation is very important. The entire further creative life depends on the initial correct placement of the body of a ballet dancer. If the frame of the dancer's body is incorrectly placed, the artist will not last long on the stage. The body will fold like a house of cards. Rosa Aliyevna managed to lay such an unshakable foundation for her students that teachers of middle and high school did not have to break and redo the material again. Rosa Taghiyeva was a skilled methodologist in teaching ballet dancers. The work of Rosa Taghiyeva lives on in the legacy of her countless graduates. These are the brightest stars of both Azerbaijani and many theaters in the world. Among the names are People's Artists of the Republic Chimnaz Babayeva, Tamila Shivalieva, honored artists Lyudmila and Gulam Poladhanov, Irina Nizametdinova, Samir Samedov, and many, many unforgettable names. The ballet heritage of the honored teacher of the Republic, Rosa Aliyevna, is continued by her only grandson, Kamran Kurbanov. He is a gifted young ballet dancer who honorably carries the name of his mentor and grandmother on the stage. In 1952, the great Russian choreographer Pyotr Gusev was invited to Baku to stage Karakarayev's ballet Seven Beauties. He faced a difficult task: to show the synthesis of classical and folk Azerbaijani dance. Gamar Almaszadeh collaborated with him. Being a connoisseur of our culture, she skillfully staged individual dances in the performance. For the image of the loveliest of beauties, Gusev chose a graduate of the Almaszadeh class, a young ballerina whose facial features embodied Eastern beauty. It was Rafiga Ahundova. The magnificent Eastern goddess became the definitive standard for the image of the Iranian beauty in the ballet Seven Beauties. Almaszadeh was also worried about the problem of educating her own staff of choreographers in the Republic. With her support, young choreographers, People's Artists Rafiga Ahundova and Maksud Mammadov, who have become famous ballet masters outside the country, begin to work. This creative couple created the best ballet paintings that brought success not only to our ballet. Their original performances are included in the repertoire of many theaters around the world. Among them is the best choreographic version of the ballet Seven Beauties. And we have the opportunity to watch footage of the first production of the ballet Seven Beauties with the participation of Rafiga Ahundova and Vladimir Pletnev. The fate of the next heroine of the ballet annals was not easy. In 1959, an extraordinary ballerina, Lyudmila Pavly, graduated from the class of one of the first teachers of the Baku choreographic school, Tatiana Amirago. For a whole season, the artist was not registered to work officially in the theater. She danced almost the entire repertoire for absolutely free. Only a year later, Gamar Almaszadeh, observing the grandiose potential of the young ballerina, came forward and became her teacher and coach. Lyudmila Pavly created her roles very carefully, approaching them with particular preparation. For her, the smallest details of the roles themselves and everything connected with them was very important. In 1979, choreographer Naila Nazirova staged a ballet to the music of Fikret Emirov 1001 Nights. As usual, several teams of performers were prepared for the part of Marjan, and as usual, Pavly does not have much of a chance to dance the premiere. The original costume of the heroine left much to be desired. Lyudmila, being an artist with a capital letter A, in addition to the exceptional interpretation of this role, radically remade all the details of the costume. When during the general presentation of the performance with the first chords, the figure of Marjan, Pavly, like a tongue of fire appeared from under a dark cape, everyone present in the hall was stupefied. It was pure delight, and they gave the premiere to her. It's simply unreal to reach the pinnacle of perfection of the ballerina's signature role. To this day, Lyudmila Pavly is the peak of the image of Marjan. Our clone theater does not know her Marjan. The roles of the diva created by Pavly in the ballet The Young Lady and the Hooligan, and the matchmaker in The Maiden's Tower remain inimitable. In 1961, the director Ali Sattar Atakishiev was shooting the film Our Street. He invited a young student of Almaszadeh, Rima Mamedova, to play the main role of the heroine Sarah. For her, this was the second experience in cinema. In 1960, while still a student of the choreographic school, she starred in the film Mollah's Adventures by the Iranian director Hussein Sasanpour. But it was the role of Sarah in Our Street that brought the actress significant success. Rima Mamedova managed to create a captivating image of a girl, courageous, resolute, proud. The rejection of slavery in any manifestation causes both strong feelings and warm sympathy for her. It was a wonderful work by the actress from the first frame to the last. The scene where she meets her mother makes the heart ache. Rima Mamedova was lucky to work in film with such masters as Rasim Ozhagov, Imran Kasumov, Ataya Aliyeva, Agadadash Kurbanov, and Gunduz Abbasov. Gamar Hanum, based on the natural talents of the student, did not interfere with her craving for cinema. Not realizing herself in choreography, Rima Hanum preferred a film career to being in the corps de ballet. She later graduated from the Faculty of Film Directing of the Azerbaijani Institute of Arts, but fate still returned her to her native shores, and she became an acting teacher. From 1978 to 1996, at the invitation of her mentor Gamar Almaszadeh, Rima Mamedova became the director of the new Baku Choreographic School in a new building erected at the initiative of national leader Heydar Aliyev. Remembering the traditions of her teacher, Rima Hanum worked to improve the level of the Azerbaijani Ballet School. The honored worker of arts was a great organizer who, together with her team, used all the opportunities for the development of the school. In 1960, among the students of Almaszadeh, Tamila Mammadova graduated. She had a radiant appearance and beautiful artistic lines of the body. Almost from the first days of her work in the theater, Gamar Hanum began to entrust her with the solo parts in performances. Tamila Nazarovna shone in the roles of the Indian and Maghreb beauties in the ballet Seven Beauties, in the role of the passionate Nurida in 1001 Nights, in Giselle as the resolute and cold Mirta, and in many more ballets. In 1969, choreographer Naila Nazirova staged her thesis, her first ballet to the music of Karakaraev's symphonic poem Leyli and Mejnun. The arrangement of the dance performance was very complex. The unsurpassed Vladimir Pletnev was approved for the role of Mejnun, after whom no one managed to repeat the production of the choreographer, which goes beyond the limits of human possibilities. For the role of Leyla, honored artist Tamila Mammadova was chosen. Her Leyla, like a girl descended from oriental frescoes, was airy, inaccessible, like the magical verse of Nizami. She was a weightless haze in front of Mejnun, Pletnev, and she beckoned after herself into the heavenly distance. The performance was a huge success during the tour of the Baku Opera and Ballet Theatre in France, thanks to these performers of the main roles. Tamila Mammadova has remained the most poetic Leyla in the chronography of our ballet. In 1977, Gamar Almaszadeh made the third version of the ballet The Maiden's Tower. She eliminates many pantomime scenes while amplifying the dance routines. The ballet in the new edition takes on its impeccable appearance. In the new version of The Maiden's Tower, one of the students, a ballerina with a performance grasp of steel, a very technical and strong people's artist of Azerbaijan, Tamila Shiralieva, performs the role of Gulnara. In 1968, in collaboration with the composer Fikret Amirov, Gamar Almaszadeh staged his latest creation, the ballet Shur, which tells a story about love and devotion. And in the full sense, the people's artists of the Republic, Chimnaz Babayeva and Vladimir Pletnev, became the personification of the plot of this performance. Babayeva turned out to be one of Almaszadeh's most beloved students. There was a very large external similarity between them. In the absence of her own children, Gamar Hanum had maternal feelings for the crystal clear, like a figurine, Chimnaz. Her swan-like devotion to her husband, the Orpheus of dance, Vladimir Pletnev, delighted people. The niche occupied by their heavenly, eternal duet gapes with emptiness to this day. They were artists from other planets. In 1967, a capable ballerina, Valentina Zainalova, emerged from the regular graduating class of Almaszadeh. She danced the roles of the street dancer in the ballet Don Quixote, Mehmene Banu in The Legend of Love, Mirta in Giselle, and many others with great success. Together with her husband, honored artist of Azerbaijan Rufat Zainalov, they served for a long time on the stage of the Azerbaijani Ballet Theatre and School. Honored worker of culture of Russia, Valentina Zainalova, with her son Zaur and daughter-in-law Ilana, former soloists of our theatre, are now running the Terpsichore Ballet Studio in Balashikha near Moscow. One of the last performers of the role of Shirin in the ballet The Legend of Love in the 1980s on the Baku stage was Almaszadeh's student Olga Arifulina. A prima with impeccable, modern, natural talent led absolutely the entire repertoire of the theatre. Even at school, the girl was called a centennial ballerina, implying her rarest choreographic talent. And these are exemplary shots of the Adagio from The Legend of Love with the participation of honored artists Olga Arifulina and Rufat Zainalov. In 1979, the director-animator Ferengiz Kurbanova filmed her first experimental work, a short film animation, Create a Dream. It was the first to use the techniques of live filming with the presence of animation. The story is about a clown striving for his dreams. The animator invited Vladimir Pletnev to play the role of the mockingbird. Screen tests were held with his participation, but due to a progressive illness that led to a series of tragic events, the artist could not continue filming. He was replaced by Fakhreddin Manafov, who had just graduated from the acting department. Ferengiz Hanum chose one of the young students of Almaszadeh, Lyudmila Poladhanova, for the role of the clown's dream without any hesitation. The features of her face perfectly matched the image, and she became the personification of dreams, calling for the clown. During the performance of the ballet 1001 Nights by Fikret Amirov, choreographer Naila Nazirova, in tandem with theater coaches Chimnaz Babayeva and Vladimir Pletnev, tried different performers for the main parts in the ballet. The choreographer tried all the difficult duets of the ballet on Lyudmila. And although another ballerina won the premiere, later Lyudmila Poladhanova became one of the best and most delicate Scheherazades in 1001 Nights. In 1986, the choreographers Rafiga Ahundova and Maksud Mamedov staged their next masterpiece, a ballet about the national hero Babek to the music of Akshin Alizadeh. It was a solid ballet according to all the requirements of the traditions of modern ballet at that time. The performance was a resounding success. Honored artists Vitalia Hundov, Babek, and Irina Nizametdinova, Parisian, were in the lead roles. This Prima, a student of Almaszadeh, had a rare natural talent. In addition to excellent ballet aptitude, Nizametdinova possessed femininity and charm. Her dancing touched and fascinated the viewer like a gentle lullaby. Like the Ottoman Empire, the Azerbaijani ballet had its own magnificent age, the age of dance geniuses led by Gamar Almaszadeh, the last student of the first national ballerina choreographer, and the last embodiment of the irrevocable heyday of ballet in Azerbaijan was Tatyana Aliyeva, a graduate of Baku Choreographic School in 1990. She entered the opera and ballet theater during the war years, which were difficult for our republic when artists were leaving the country in droves. The ballerina with a giant stride and leap, fantastic rotation, and a steel aplomb inherited from Almaszadeh carried the entire repertoire. Aliyeva, with her characteristic natural royalty, shone in the roles of the ruthless Myrta and Giselle, Nurida in the fabulous 1001 Nights, Kitri in the festive Don Quixote, Odette and Odile in Swan Lake, and in many other roles. She was the personification of the country's ballet theater at absolutely all official concerts of the 1990s. Faithful to the traditions of the revered Almaszadeh, Tatyana Aliyeva selflessly served the art of ballet, but unfortunately, she never received her due artistic recognition. The great leader of our nation, Heydar Aliyev, who always supported the culture of the country and its artists, in 1997 awarded Gamar Almaszadeh with the Order of Glory for the achievements of the ballerina in choreography. He was a living witness to the formation of the difficult art form of ballet in the Republic and did everything to develop it and improve the social conditions of the artist's life. We are infinitely grateful to Heydar Aliyev and the successor of his ideas, President Ilham Aliyev. Half a century of creative life. They are connected with Azerbaijani ballet, with the national culture of the Republic. Almaszadeh's exceptionally clear, purposeful work reflects all stages of the formation of Azerbaijani choreography. Without a doubt, the different facets of her personality and talent influenced the formation of the artistic image of the Baku ensemble, the pride of which is the beautiful ballerina, choreographer, and personality, Gamar Almaszadeh.